Only one day on from what was the Tories' last chance to shift the dial has left people wondering what the Chancellor's planned tax raise mean for them. While millennials are up, Jeremy Hunt's thrown the V sign to pensioners who will be losing a collective hit of about £8 billion. So, I'm afraid it's all down to everybody who's about under the age of 30 to start paying their way. Starting to bring in the panel to get their thoughts. Communications Officer at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Reem Ibrahim, journalist Sam Down and broadcaster and commentator Esther Kraku. You guys are now the future. It's up to you. So, you know, get out there and get about 3 different jobs. Yeah. Start subsidising the old people of this country because they're getting stucked, I'm sorry to say. And they're all worse off. They're not getting any more money until they die. That's the end.
Well, that's the state pension for you, Mike.
So get to it.
We do already spend a lot.
You know what's interesting? We'll be doing that and we won't even get a state pension.
Yeah.
So we're paying for something that a benefit we will not get. Look, I do feel sorry for pensioners because you have people that have worked 30, 40, 50 years that were told they were going to get a state pension. And really, they're being, you know, shafted on both ends. But I think this statement makes sends a signal that actually the tax cuts are coming for people that are economically productive, working people, as opposed to people that are pensioners. And it's a direction that, it's a gamble, certainly, but it's clearly...
The irony
yeah, but nobody's happy about this. I don't know anyone... Are you guys happy? I mean, are you guys better off? Have you worked out whether you're better off?
I think the irony is that the pensioners are obviously, you know, the Tories' demographic. So these are the people that are going to be voting for the Tories. So, I mean, it's not the time to shaft them, let's be honest.
But the thing is, the state pension isn't obviously means-tested. So there's the argument that actually you have pensioners that probably have other sources of income that probably don't need it.
People seem to think that, you know, the pension pot is there as soon as you're paying your national insurance. It's just a pot that stays
that's what it was meant to be for.
government.
Yeah, there's no pot.
It isn't in reality.
It's run dry.
Actually, you know, a quarter of pensioners are asset millionaires. And unfortunately, because of the way in which the housing crisis has effectively meant that first-time buyers are unable to buy their own homes, but also last-time buyers are unable to afford to move to better suitable housing.
Right.
So
because they can't sell their home sometimes because for various different reasons, or even if they do sell it, you know...
Where are they going to go?
They'd have to buy another place and the price has gone up, blah, blah, blah. Also, so many people get screwed by the social care system because they have to sell the house to the local council to pay for their care. So,
yeah, that's
you know,
true. I do think, and I think that there is a huge generational divide in this country at the moment. You know, we've got almost the highest tax burden since the Second World War, effectively. And this cut in national insurance is really a drop in the bucket in comparison to the wider issue. We saw from the ONS that published at the same time as the budget that huge numbers of people, I think it was 37 million people, are going to be dragged into paying tax by 2028 to 2029. So really, there are huge numbers of people being dragged into higher tax brackets. And ultimately, what this means for productivity, it means that the economy isn't growing. It means that young people, especially, feel as though they are really getting a bad end of the stick. And then, you know, when the government are promising the state pension to the pensioners, it does feel as though they are sort of buying off those votes and then completely ignoring the next generation of people.
Well, yeah, I know, but the trouble is they're running out of ideas, so they just have to keep taxing you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by the time you guys are old enough to collect your pension, you'll probably be getting taxed about 98%.
Well,
you know, because they're saying they're going to make the business of government bigger. Instead of making it smaller, you know, they should fire a few thousand advisors that they've got.
Well, that's the point.
Slim down.
The state is too big.
Slim everything down. And
the welfare state is too big. You know, there are people that are... I mean, the biggest issue, I know, I wouldn't even mind the size of the welfare state if we didn't have so many economically unproductive working, like people that are of working age. That's what annoys me. That
5.3 million people are out of work benefits.
Honestly, but they're job vacancies. You have 700,000 people that don't have to look for a job ever at all because of anxiety and depression. Oh, then most of these people are under the age of 35. I mean, that is what really grinds my gears. We're a low-wage economy. We have a massive welfare state, which is just completely unsustainable. Actually, I think really what we spend on pensioners, and again, the triple lock is very expensive. I would be okay with that if actually people were working and more productive.
Yeah.
What do you do all day when you're on benefits? You've got nothing to do all day.
Well, not many people on benefits
I think most people don't do anything. They don't get up.
You must get
half
bored.
of people on benefits actually work. We're basically subsidising low productivity people because it's a low wage economy and the nature of our jobs are not very well paid. Right? You have a plethora of jobs that you can do with minimal literacy skills, with basic motor skills. They're not jobs in like sort of high tech or high growth industries like tech or medicine or whatever. And that's the main problem, is the nature of our
But also what it turns out to be then is that the government's actually subsidising poor wage payers. So companies don't pay enough enough money, and so the government comes along and goes, "Oh, don't worry, we'll top it up."
Yeah. But that's including them, for example. My partner did work in the care sector. Now he works for a special needs school. The wages are terrible. Yeah. So I mean, when you're
doing something like that topped up then, or is it?
Well, I don't know. We're looking into it now because I think I've paid taxes all my life. So why
you'll be subsidising his job? That's why it's going to end up.
Which is pretty much what I'm doing already. Yes, exactly.
I mean, the government let in what? How many tens of thousands of £20,000 a year carers on contract?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unjustifiable when you have millions of people in this country unemployed.
But I mean, can you blame them? I mean, you've got CEOs like Lord Wolfson of Next effectively saying we need more immigration to fill up these vacancies. When those people exist in this country, but they are being subsidised by the government. And I mean, I think it really is a scandal either way, even if you think that those 5.3 million people could potentially be too ill. If that is the case, I mean, that is a scandal in itself.
I mean, clearly that's
why are people so ill?
Let's take a sort of a look out from the outside. How did we get here? You know, we suddenly find ourselves in the midst of the worst sort of government crisis that in my lifetime I can remember. And I lived through the 70s when we had 3-day weeks and blackouts and strikes every single 5 minutes every time you turn around. But we're now in a place where nothing seems to work. There's not much future for you lot. There's no future for pensioners whatsoever. People in between are getting screwed.
We got here.
Sandwich generation.
We got here from 14 years of Tory rule.
No, it's been longer than that.
It's not just that.
I'm not going to accept that.
Of course it is.
You know what it is?
That.
It's decades of short-term thinking.
Yeah.
There has never been a coherent long-term strategy, and the biggest example we can see this is in our energy policy. We've had no coherent energy policy in terms of our infrastructure or in terms of kind of long-term thinking to actually bring down energy costs, which are probably one of the biggest drivers.
And how do you bring down costs? We increase supply, and yet the government seem to think that cancelling North Sea oil licenses in order to appease the environmentalist net zero bonkers
But that's the
people.
problem. Let's look at it from the point of view, it's a quarter of a century into the new century. I think it's been that long since anybody did anything sensible.
Well, I think
really
fundamentally,
I agree.
Fundamentally, I think it's about winning the battle of ideas, and clearly, you know,
there aren't any ideas.
Well,
Nobody's got any.
Post-pandemic, people seem to feel as though they want the government to cover them in cotton wool, to wrap them in cotton wool. They want the government to be doing everything for them. You know, I think polling.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just the pandemic, because the people who went home when they were told to go home and didn't come back, they were ready to do that because they were probably already halfway doing it. So, I mean, it's not just the pandemic either.
The ideas are there. Our politicians are just more scared of Twitter than actually the voting public. That's the problem. You have politicians that are happy to cower in fear and not say what a woman is and tout meaningless things when there are real issues in this country, and they know the kinds of things that can solve them. They're just not willing to put their necks on the line.
We need to be investing in future technology as well. And
someone needs to say it.
Well, yeah, but we're at a time where we're transitioning. For example, with AI, for example, AI is going to make everybody's lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm told.
Absolutely.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think AI is going to make anybody unemployed. I think this idea that, you know, when computers and technology come into power, that actually it means that people are going to be losing their jobs. That people said it when computers were invented, it didn't happen. Right. I think what it will do is make us more productive and more efficient. But ultimately, we need to be
I've yet to have somebody, hang on, I've yet to have somebody explain it to me how we become more efficient.
I've only seen Taylor Swift
AI.
Things are being done more effectively, more quickly.
I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a good example. If we all know people obviously who work in this building, who work in the Sun, who work for various other newspapers. If you have a look at some of the articles in online, for example, it says underneath at the bottom that it was written with the help of AI. So, for example,
how's that better?
How's that better?
Right, it's better because it's quicker. It means that somebody doesn't.
If someone, you haven't seen me write.
Of course, but it's written.
I'll knock you out 1,000 words in half an hour. I used to do it for a living.
If a story is written for you and you just need to go through it and change little bits and bobs, then it's done. So
that's why there's so many.
That's ChatGPT. Yeah, so there are other, people think about AI.
That doesn't prove anything. All that proves is that
it proves you're more productive because you can write more stories within the day.
What's another good example of AI other than bad journalism?
So AI is not
just there's no point in writing crap stories. You've got to write good stories.
Exactly.
It's not about volume. It's about quality, right?
No, not the Sun or the Mail or on an online.
That's a huge indictment.
You know, but you know it's not about quality. It's about bish bash bosh, reading what you're going to read, going, it's a thrill, and then you read it, it's gone.
Advancements in journalism aren't even, I think, the most interesting or exciting part of AI. The part AI is not just ChatGPT. AI is a huge aspect of artificial intelligence that effectively means that we can.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting to hear somebody explain to me how it's going to be better. I'm still waiting You know, you're running out of time.
For example, within the NHS, we can actually replace
that's a good one.
Documents and signing things. And
this is the same organisation that's running on fax machines.
But surely if you
well, yes, we can get rid of them. Finally.
Mike, surely if you could quarter...
Everybody else got rid of fax machines about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Why the NHS still
Let's say in the police, for example.
Because of the socialised healthcare system.
Oh, the police.
Well, let's say the police, for example,
who get attacked and raped by an AI bot.
No, listen, because people are bogged down by red tape and by reports. Let's say, for example, they didn't have to write the report, so half of their day was suddenly freed up. Of course, that's more helpful.
My dear friends, you have lost the debate.
The police are supposed to be solving crimes, right?
And not signing papers and not writing documents.
Exactly.
And not
so if you don't have to do that,
file reports.
These are menial tasks, and most of them were simplified with the invention of the computer. Yeah. So AI typing it up and then you having to go through it.
No, but that was just
Of course it's quicker if AI was to take over document signing, over paperwork, over doctors having to go through all of these different paperwork.
Police officers have always had to write up reports, right? Now they've just become useless. It's got nothing to do with AI, and nothing to do with the reports. It's the fact that nobody anymore in this country can do anything. And you three have just proved it.